Hello, everybody, and welcome to another quick update from Skyline Communications. My name is Ben, and today I would like to present to you a new professional service called the DataMiner DevOps Enablement Service. And let me tell you immediately what this is about. The DataMiner DevOps Enablement Service is really about establishing an empowered DataMiner DevOps squad at your organization. So really creating a very empowered team that has the ability to create and deliver value continuously towards your goals. That's the essence about it. That's the goal of this specific service. And let me explain you why this is important and what exactly the service is all about, because I think this is really valuable for many organizations out there. First of all, why? Well, simply because continuous change is the new operational paradigm. There's a lot of things happening in the world, technology changes in infrastructure, processes, workflows, the service offerings, new competitive landscapes, etc. There's change continuously. And the only thing you can do is to become very comfortable in that environment. We can talk a lot about a lot of these details about what these changes are about, but the essence of it is that you have to be comfortable with that change. You have to be able to embrace that change. And that's the key to success. The most successful organizations in the future are going to be the corporations that are capable of embracing that change and doing that easily and continuously and also efficiently. So how can you organize an organization to ensure that you have that quality, that you have that ability to do that? Now, if you take a 10,000-foot perspective on this, this is kind of the picture that you're looking at. It all starts, of course, with transformational technology. And I think most people already realize that. That's the fundamental underlying change that we're seeing. In the past, everybody was building an operation based on hardware, hardwired infrastructure, and you would build that and run and operate that for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Today, with virtualization, cloudification, transitions from legacy connectivity to IP connectivity, you get this environment that gives you tremendous opportunity, almost unlimited opportunity. But the very important thing there is that you cannot just install that technology, okay? You have to build and create what is called a composable architecture, an architecture that kind of wraps around that transformational technology, wraps around the cloud services, the IP infrastructure, and kind of takes that and creates an environment where you can change continuously and you can really drive value from that infrastructure. And the way you do that to create a composable architecture is really a quite complex and challenging undertaking. But nevertheless, it is a key component to be successful, to be able to deal with those changes. All kinds of changes again. It could be as simple as saying, hey, we have a lot of changes in this infrastructure in terms of doing software updates. It's all software driven and firmware. You have to continuously onboard new versions from different vendors. How are you going to deal with that? And that's only a small example of change. Another change is, for example, like everybody has seen, COVID is happening. Suddenly we have to adapt our workflows to accommodate remote working, for example. But it's also about new business models, new competitors that come into the market, exciting technology like ChatGPT, for example, that blows us away, and it's hard to imagine what's going to be the impact. But you have to be able to adapt. But this is not only about technology, because obviously DataMiner plays a very vital role from a technology perspective in creating that composable architecture. But it's also a matter of people, mindset, principles that you apply. Also there, you have to really consider how you create that entire environment. It's not just the technology, it's about people that understand the goals of the company and that can translate that into changes in the environment. So that's kind of the picture that we're looking at, the continuous change. And the way you do that is building a composable architecture with a strong team that delivers value continuously. And it's very important also to understand that this is not just about software development, because a lot of the things that we're talking about here are kind of very common in a software development world. But reality is that everything I'm talking about today applies everywhere. Every possible layer in a corporation, in a business, an entire organization. Agility applies everywhere. Change is happening everywhere. It's omnipresent, okay? So everybody is getting involved in that process. And a very important thing is also keep in mind that there's a lot of democratization of digital skills going on. Today, for example, in a DataMiner environment, We have low-code and no-code apps, which allow people that are not coders to become creators and to contribute and basically change and evolve the environment to become more powerful. It's a little bit similar to ChatGPT, for example, that gives everybody now the power of becoming a very proficient writer and write press releases, for example. So that's kind of a very important thing to take under consideration, that democratization of digital skills. Ultimately, everybody in an organization will become a creator, okay? And everybody can contribute in that process. So everything that you're seeing, whether it's a media business moving towards IP, or whether it's an access provider, for example, that is moving towards distributed access architecture, and anything that has to do with virtualization and cloudifying workflows, all of that really is something that you have to say the most important thing is not the installation of the switches, it's not the use of the cloud services, but it's really about how will I create that architecture of people and technology that wraps around it and that can leverage it and really accommodate all those changes. So, and I think most people are already familiar with that process, okay? It's really about saying, hey, we do have endless options. We have so much data where we can empower different people in the organization. We can increase the efficiency of the utilization. Very important, for example, for cloud services, because you're paying by the minute. So you better be very efficient in using that. But it also equally applies to somebody who said, yeah, you know, I've spent 10 million or 20 million euro on an IP infrastructure. Well, you better make sure that you can use it as efficiently as possible. And there's always opportunity to utilize it in a more efficient manner and to grow towards, for example, a converged IP network. That will definitely come in the coming years. It's about hardening security. It's about rethinking and innovating the workflows, new business models, etc. Again, endless opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's all about looking at that and creating a backlog and saying, hey, you know, there's so many things that we can do. This is, you know, all the IDs and all the use cases. But ultimately, you only have a limited number of time that you can invest. You have a finite energy, and so you have to be very wise about it. You're going to look at this and you're going to look at all of these opportunities, look at how complex they are, how much effort they have, and ultimately, very important, how much value can they contribute towards your goals? And that's a very important translation from features to value, a very difficult exercise. But ultimately, it's about how fast you can do those cycles, okay? You can make those incremental changes. The most agile, I always say, is a single person, because you can make those iterations in your head continuously. You could do it every minute, every 5 minutes. If I'm a person who understands all the goals of the organizations, where we want to go, what we want to achieve, and I'm the one who can actually make it happen, okay, I'm going to be very, very efficient at this. As soon as you go towards two people, you know, a business and somebody who implements this, you already have a certain slowdown of that cycle. If you go to two teams or two departments, or maybe between different companies, you will slow down those cycles. So having embedded teams of people, engineers, operations people together in small independent teams is so crucial and goes so much to the heart of how fast you will be able to cycle through those changes. So that's a process that you always have to keep in mind, and that's DevOps. And again, if you look at that picture, everybody knows that picture, okay, from a software world. But what I'm saying here is that this starts applying everywhere in whatever you're doing, whether you're executing on marketing or business or any other type of environment. This is how we're going to be working. Everybody is becoming a creator. Everybody is becoming part of that process. And again, creating that environment requires a lot of things. It's technology, it's culture, philosophy, mindset, practices, and everything. So it's a quite difficult undertaking, okay? But that's the ultimate goal, to create that environment and to make that happen. Now with DataMiner, that's the picture that you're looking at, because DataMiner itself is a very powerful transformational technology. So it's really about setting up a team with the right mindset, with the right skills, to look at the technology landscape, a technology landscape that is continuously changing, okay? There's going to be new technologies tomorrow. Each of those are going to evolve, and there's different ways that you can leverage that. But keep in mind, everybody has access to those. That's not the key differentiator. The key differentiator are those people here, and how fast and how quick and how efficiently they can convert that technology landscape into a service or a deliverable that you're bringing to the market, and how efficient you can do that, and how secure you can do that. So what you see here, the key ingredient, the strategic asset, is actually what's happening here. And again, if that's an embedded team, your velocity and your capability to iterate quickly and fast is going to be much, much higher. So that's the kind of picture you're looking at. Now, from a DataMiner perspective, okay, everybody probably knows DataMiner already, but you can understand that this is a system that is very unique. And there's a reason why it's so popular around the world, because it has that very clean, powerful structure, data acquisition and control, where I can ingest any data from any product, whether that's software or hardware or a cloud service, in any format, log files or protocols, proprietary protocols, standard protocols. I have the guarantee that I can bring it in there. The second thing, the digital twin, being able to have a unified, standardized model. And why is that so important? Because anybody working on workflows and processes and automation and consuming data does not have to worry where the data is coming from, and then does not have to worry about understanding all the intrinsic details of the underlying infrastructure. And that's a key thing there. Now, that digital twin can also be enhanced with people and trucks and IP addresses, all the intangible assets. And then you have people that can work on workflows. And there's a lot of automation. We're not going to go into detail, but automation, process automation, for example, orchestration, it's kind of leveraging everything through there, because one of the key differentiators of DataMiner is definitely the fact that we have data collection and control plane integrated into one single technology. Extremely powerful. And then you can have a look at people that do data consumption. How can I take all that data and that workflows and empower the entire organization, whether it's my accountant, my salespeople, my operations people, people responsible for capacity planning, they all look at the same data, but from a different angle or a different perspective. So you can see already that how in this architecture, you can already discover that you can have DevOps people, DataMiner DevOps professionals that look at this from a different angle, who can specialize in specific areas across that entire layer. Okay, I could have a colleague who's specialized in data collection. He's responsible to bring in the data. And other people in the team, for example, could be looking at, as soon as the data flows in there, how can I leverage that through teams, through dashboards, etc. So that's the technology side of it. And you can see how people can align to all those different layers to be very efficient. And of course, underlying, not going to go into detail, but very important in a CI/CD environment, a DevOps environment, is that complete pipeline, okay? Where you have standard tools, standard repositories, and you can easily automate all the testing of your automation. So that's an important ingredient. But what else is important? For example, an open community. I'm talking about velocity. I'm talking about sharing knowledge. Community is so important. It gives a DevOps team the opportunity to go and learn on the fly, because there's a lot of learning available there off the shelf, to see use cases and to get inspired, because the challenge is not only what is it that you is not only doing it. Okay, we can all learn how to do things, but what is it that you can do? Okay, you have to have the imagination of what this technology allows you to do. So use cases and innovation is very important. But also, for example, questions. If somebody has a question or a difficulty, being able to reach out to over 350 people from Skyline and a global community is so powerful. You go straight to the person that has the knowledge and the expertise. So an open community is also an important ingredient next to the technology. And last but not least, there's also the DevOps professional program that we recently launched. And there's so many people signing up already. This is really about focusing on the individual. And you can go there if you're not part of this yet, because you can sign up. It's free of charge. And it's all about empowering individuals, giving them rewards and incentives to really do the things they need to do to become successful as a creator. So these are all ingredients. But at the end of the day, all these people need to create those user experiences. Somebody else in my team is going to create actionable insights, a dashboard. He needs to understand the business. I'm working for somebody doing capacity management. I'm working for somebody who does operations. How can I make their life easier, more efficient, and deliver actionable insights? And other people can do workflows or process analysis, etc. I mentioned already quite a few of that. So getting back to the point, DevOps enablement service is a new service that really is very goal-oriented. As I said, the goal is to establish an empowered DataMiner DevOps squad at your organization. A squad of people that are capable of continuously delivering value using all those different ingredients, the technology, the community, the DevOps professional program, and use all of that to the maximum extent possible to deliver as much value as possible for your organization. So what is this really about? Well, number one, I would say it's a professional, carefree, managed service package. It's really about saying, hey, this is very important. That specific goal of establishing that team and to do that as efficiently as possible, I want to hand it over to an expert who has experience, who knows the environment and can guide my people and my team to become powerful creators. Okay? And this is also tailored to your organization. That's also an important thing. It's really tailored towards your environment and your type of operation and your goals and your ambitions. And also tailored towards the individuals, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different background. Everybody has different experience. And you cannot expect everybody to be up to speed on everything. So it's really about looking at all the individuals in the team and coaching them in a very personalized way. And again, it's about leveraging everything. But rather than selling a training or a certification, everybody buys a lot of training and certification. But at the end of the day, that's kind of not really a very valuable deliverable. Okay, it's a training, but that's not what you want. The training is the means to get somewhere. The DevOps enablement service is really about focusing on the goal. That's what you would be paying for. You don't pay for training anymore because training is actually for free and available on the community, but you pay to get your team from here all the way over to here. And that, new destination is a powerful DevOps team. It's focusing on that. So if we look at it in detail, the most important thing there is that Skyline facilitator, okay? That's the person who is going to relieve you of the difficult part of your duties, okay? Which is about understanding that landscape, understanding where you need to go and what is important, because there's technology there, there's infrastructure there, there's mindset, there's training, there's so many tools available. The Skyline facilitator has a lot of experience in that, okay? They know that they need to look at this from a lot of different angles. At the same time, they have easy access to all the available resources. And whether that be introducing somebody to the community, but also knowing that, hey, I have a company here with 350 people with great expertise, great knowledge, and each of them is different. They each have their own, things that they just do so much better than anybody else. So that person, that Skyline facilitator, is going to take you through that journey, okay? They will go and say, hey, let's get started. First thing we need to do is staffing. We could be looking at doing some upskilling of people in the ops team. We could bring in people from the IT team. We could recruit new people. We could do maybe augmentation of the staffing through our Skyline partner network, because there's a variety of Skyline partners that can do staff augmentation. There's a variety of solutions there. And that person will look at it and say, hey, let's discuss, let's see what the options are here to start a team and to start the staffing. And they can help you. They can help you with, for example, drafting profiles to make sure that we have the right people. They would even be able to join, interviews to verify if a person is a good fit. And once we have people recruited, you can start the onboarding. Who's there, getting to know each other, knowing that there's a specific goal, and then get started. And again, this is very specific. It's each time tailored to your organization and the individuals that we have there. So we need to look at, do we need a data acquisition engineer, or should we be focusing on the data consumption? So for every individual person in that team, the Skyline facilitator would draft up a very tailored, specific training program, leveraging the broad set of modules of training that we have. So, but rather than having people not knowing where to get started, you would have somebody who would basically make those decisions and basically leverage their knowledge, their expertise to guide people in the right direction. So it becomes a very efficient process. It's a very agile process also, okay, with different steps. And the execution of a DevOps enablement program is going to be different every single time for every single organization, depending on the people. But once that's done, there's other things that can be done, like certification or leveraging the DataMiner DevOps professional program, for example, doing the tooling and the infrastructure. And each time in that process, they can go back and say, hey, we need a little bit of coaching for this person in this specific area. So we need this expert from Skyline for the next 2 weeks to do 2 hours of coaching, for example. So all those things are being orchestrated by the Skyline facilitator with one goal in mind, and that's really to deliver a fully operational, empowered DevOps team where you can have that very powerful DataMiner technology and the people that can leverage it to the maximum extent. And as we go through that trajectory, okay, we will transition gradually also into hands-on experience, because that's very important. At the end of the day, you can do a lot of training and certification, but a lot of the learning is actually done by doing hands-on work. So gradually, those people that are in that DevOps enablement track, the Skyline facilitator will look at actually getting them hands-on involved with real-life deployment, picking up maybe some simple tasks in the beginning and gradually ramping up. But again, very individual. And that's what the DataMiner DevOps enablement service is all about. Okay, so that's a very important goal-oriented proposition. And of course, it comes with a lot of tools like the skill set matrix to look at what do people need to focus on, but that's essentially what you're buying. Expertise and experience from that Skyline facilitator who knows all the different steps that potentially could be relevant and who tailors and picks the ones that are most relevant to you. I'm going to wrap it up because I want to keep it very brief, but I would say get started today. I mean, a lot of people are used to spending a lot of money on training, but I would say stop spending money on the actual training. The training is on the community. Be more smart, okay? Invest into something that is going to help you and be more goal-oriented. Because at the end of the day, having that in-house DataMiner DevOps team is vital, okay? This is what, it goes to the heart of everything that you see happening in the world around you. Having that ability to continuously change, to continuously evolve, to continuously deliver value towards the goals, that's what this is about. So it's really vital to be able to do that. Secondly, okay, it's about succeeding because it's easier said than done. Again, this service is all about tapping into the expertise and the experience of somebody who has done this many times before. Somebody who knows all the resources, whether it's people with specific expertise, whether it's training resources or certification resources or technology resources, it doesn't matter, okay? You can hand it over to somebody who knows what the options are and who can look at your team, at your organization, and kind of guide you through that entire process. And at the end of the day, it's all about leverage. It's all about leverage. You're spending a lot of money on cloud services. You may have invested millions into a switch fabric, whatever it may be, but the value that you will be getting out of that is going to be entirely defined by how agile you are, okay? How strong you are in terms of taking a technology like DataMiner, having that team, and crunching out value on a continuous basis. At the end of the day, again, keep that in mind. Everything you have there, whether it's switches or whether it's cloud services, everybody has that. That's not the key differentiator. The key differentiator is what sits on top. That DataMiner technology, that team, that capability, that's your key differentiator. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you kind of see what I'm talking about here. I would really recommend to talk to our sales team and to get one of those DataMiner DevOps enablement services started. Before I go, I just want to take the opportunity here to tell you also that at the end of March, we are going to have our Empower event. And again, it's about the same theme. It's about empowering people to become very powerful creators. And keep in mind, again, this is not purely about coding, okay? There's plenty of opportunity and plenty of room for people that don't do coding to become creators. Ultimately, everybody in every organization is going to become a creator in the future. And this is your opportunity to go into that world of becoming an operator. The Empower event, which is going to be here at our headquarters, because it's so valuable to meet people face-to-face, is a multi-day tech fest. It's an opportunity to get together with people from around the world exchange experiences, to meet with our developers, and a lot of experienced people at Skyline who are building and designing this kind of solutions. So it's free of charge, it's free. You can go there, the website, I mentioned it, empower.skyline.be. You can pre-register already, which is recommended because the number of seats are limited. So I would really, if you're interested, go there and register right now. And I'm hoping to see you here, and I'm hoping to work with everybody to create those new teams that are going to drive your business. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.